Welcome everybody. Is this, sorry? This
Press
is
the
not
button.
There we go. We have liftoff. Oh, that happened yesterday. Welcome everybody to the public launch of the Nevada Forum. This is a big deal. This is an historic day for the people of Nevada, an historic day for the people of America. As you will come to understand, we are building something that our country and our people want and need. So if you look around this room, the people who have gathered here don't ordinarily get together. Three key institutions: legislators, the media, and the people. Legislative leaders from both parties, political operatives who have spent careers fighting each other, and everyday Nevadans who've never even been in a room like this. And the media is here to witness it. This doesn't happen anymore. And that is the point for why we're here. Because the first thing we must rebuild in this country is trust. Trust between our neighbors, trust between parties, and most urgently, trust between the people and our government. We all know that that trust is gone. We also know that we can't waste another minute fighting, because we, as a country, are enduring right now probably the greatest test this nation has ever had. You can call it a perfect storm, but storms pass. We are being challenged all at once with historic division, political violence, massive debt, wealth accumulation not seen since before the Great Depression, and polarization and factionalism not seen since the Civil War. And you top off all of that with a technological revolution that threatens our jobs and our way of life. Any one of these things could derail a nation. Together, they are a code red warning for all of us. And that is why we are all here today. That is why we showed up and stood up. Now, a free society cannot survive if we cannot solve the big problems. And right now, again, we all know we are not solving them. Not because the problems are unsolvable, but because the system is meant to solve them has lost the confidence of the people that it serves. When people don't trust government, they stop participating. When they stop participating, we no longer have legitimacy. And when nothing legitimate gets built, the divisions deepen, and the window to act gets smaller. But there is a window. There is a window right now for all of us to begin this new effort to create new civic infrastructure, to create a new force in our politics and our country. And that force is going to come from the people. Now, this journey for me began 8 years ago. I traveled across the country to 10 different states with the renowned political pollster Frank Luntz. We said we wanted to do national therapy. We wanted to see where Americans were, whether they were so divided, we would be done. And in every room we went into, sadly, like maybe many therapy sessions, there was yelling, there was pointing the finger, there was blame, but then there was this realization that nobody is coming to save us. That we are the adults in the room, that we must start talking. And when we ask the question, are you willing to get together, if we could get you together, to fight for our future together? Could we solve problems together? And I asked them if they were all in every state, in every group, every single one. I'm not kidding, every person raised their hand and said that they would do it. That was the hopeful moment. That was when I realized this is possible. But now, how do you do that? How do you get the American people in a room? How do you get them raising their hand and giving their opinions? How can we build the civic infrastructure that would allow for that. So that's what we've been doing for the last 8 years. We've been testing all the various pieces of this deliberative process. We asked them directly, will you show up? And they said yes. So this process allows any citizen to enter, to have their voice genuinely heard, to build real consensus across real differences, and to produce real change through real legislative outcomes. It's not a poll, it's not a petition, not a town hall where people perform outrage in front of the cameras. It's a legitimate civic process that's transparent, it's balanced, and it's accountable. It produces the people's agenda that has 70% approval from the people, and it puts it directly in front of their legislators. And all along, the legislators are participating. This is not going to be adversarial. This is going to be a partnership between the people and our government. And many of those legislators are here right now, and I want to recognize them. Senator Flores is just here, had to leave. Former Senator Harris is here. Assembly members Hafen, Karras, Wynn, and School Board Trustee Cavazos. All here, all ready to advise, to participate, and to witness what the people put together. This process that starts today and ends with a civic assembly of 50 to 75 Nevadans who will represent this great state is a process that will be trusted, because all along we will make sure that the process is transparent. Here's the exciting news. We opened the doors to the Nevada Forum early so that there were plenty of people already at the party when people started coming in. Just in a few weeks, over 8,000 Nevadans from every corner of the state has come onto the platform and begin giving their ideas. Over 500 ideas have been submitted from all different categories that you can imagine. And the number grows every day. When they come onto the platform, ideas get to be voted up and down. Consensus forms. We emerge from phase 1 with 10 priority issues. Phase 2, those issues are refined through face-to-face online meetings with diverse populations, politically balanced, and fully transparent at every step. As I said, it culminates with the assembly, where that final decision is made, and then draft legislation is passed on to the sponsors who believe in it. It's going to be so important that we educate all Nevadans about this opportunity and the legislature. As I said, we all play our role. So why Nevada and why now? We are building this not just here, but also in South Carolina and in New Hampshire. If we can prove that this works in these 3 states, in these diverse states, we can tell a story to the country that we have a path forward, a way out of our division, and a way to solve our biggest problems. This state has never fit into anybody's political box. Nevadans are independent-minded, direct, and they're tired. They're tired of being used as a pawn in someone else's national game. They want something real. And they are ready for this. So, if it can work here, it stays here. Nevada becomes the model for states across the country, for cities, and for our nation. Now I'd like to introduce the folks who are standing here behind me, who are the real leaders of this effort. They are the team members of the Nevada Forum. They are the legislators who've stood up, put their arms down, and linked arms to make this happen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Greg Baylor, and I'm a co-chair for the Nevada Forum. I grew up in Northern Nevada, and I started my career working on local campaigns and in the legislature before moving to Las Vegas. Along the way, I was fortunate to serve in several of the top staff roles in Republican politics in this state. This included State Director for the Republican National Committee, Executive Director for the Nevada Republican Party, and Executive Director for the Senate Republicans and their caucus in the Nevada legislature. That experience, I can tell you, there's no shortage of problems that we need to take a look at and try and solve in the United States or the Silver State. What we too often lack is a better way to bring people into the process. We don't have ways to hear good ideas and create the kind of trust it takes to move real solutions forward. And I think that is why the Nevada Forum is so exciting. It's important, and it's an opportunity to give people a real seat at the table and prove that even in a divided time, Nevada can still lead by bringing people together around serious ideas and practical results. So my message to Republicans across Nevada is simple. Visit our website, share your ideas, be part of this effort. You have a voice and it deserves to be heard. I invite you to join us, contribute your ideas, and look forward to the next legislative session. Help us build a stronger future for the Silver State.
Good morning. My name is Chris Miller. I am a co-chair for the Nevada Forum. I moved here over 20 years ago. Like 75% of people who live in the state, I was not born in the state. But I chose to be here, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I got involved in Democratic Party politics, and like Greg on the other side, advocated for my people and my candidates to get elected. But in this country right now, we need to get past that, and we need to start a conversation with each other. We need to get in a room, talk about what's wrong, and figure out how to fix it. I'm of an age where I remember that in Congress, the same number of Democrats and Republicans went in a room and they came out with a bill. Not maybe the best bill, but a bill. We don't do that anymore. The other thing that when Andrew approached me about being involved in this project that really excited me is the fact that as someone who's lived in Las Vegas my whole 20 years here, there are very few people who understand rural Nevada. And this is an opportunity for rural Nevada to have their voice heard, and for people in Clark and Washoe counties to understand what happens in rural Nevada and how that affects the entire state. So I'm looking forward to not only bridging a political divide, I'm looking forward to fixing maybe a north-south divide in the state of Nevada. I urge you all, Democrats, Republicans, nonpartisans, and even if you don't vote, please go to nvforum.org and help us fix our state. Thank you.
All right, hello Nevada. Friends and neighbors, we're all aware that our current political climate often feels like we're caught in the crossfire. Having served in the Nevada legislature, I know that the pressure in Carson City, it can come from all sides. This creates a vacuum where common sense priorities of the majority can sometimes get sidelined. I'm here today because the Nevada Forum offers a way to break that cycle and return the power of the process to the people where it belongs. As a former legislator, I can tell you one of the hardest part of the jobs is identifying where the true consensus is amongst all of the noise. We often hear from the most organized or the most funded, but rarely do we get a clear picture of what the quiet majority actually wants. This initiative changes that dynamic by providing a verified, data-driven look at the issues where Nevadans share a common ground, where we can show that the majority of our neighbors agree on a solution, provides backup for lawmakers to act courageously, and replaces guesswork with clear mandate for progress. My perspective as a parent is what makes this personal to me. Like many of you and many Nevadans, I worry about the world that we're leaving for our children. We teach our kids that the way to solve problems is to sit down, listen, find a way forward together. Yet our political system often models the exact opposite. By participating in this forum, we're modeling a healthier version of democracy for the next generation. We're showing our children that their future is not something that just happens to them, right? It's something that we have to take the right and responsibility to shape. I want my kids to live in a state where we respect each other enough to find solutions that work for everyone. Lastly, as an attorney, I look at this through the lens of procedural fairness. In the courtroom, the integrity of the verdict really depends on the entirety of the fairness of the process. The Nevada Forum is built on that exact same principle. It isn't an advocacy group for a specific agenda. It's neutral, structured space for deliberation, and ensures that every voice, whether from a rural ranch or a Las Vegas suburb, is synthesized into collective vision. This is the way for Nevadans to be heard. Participate in the Nevada Forum today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gregory Hathan. I'm the Assembly Minority Leader. I wrote a great speech. It was going to be huge, I promise you. But I've been so motivated listening to everyone else. I'm going to speak a little bit off the cuff, so bear with me today. I live in Pahrump, Nevada, which is in the heart of Nye County, the largest county in our entire state. We have many rural and frontier communities throughout. And that's where my concentration has been over my career. I'm going on 8 years in the Assembly now. And, I would reach across the aisle to Senator Harris, Assemblyman Nguyen, and just say, hey, you guys have great ideas, great legislation. However, this is how it's going to hurt our rural and frontier communities. Can we work together to come up with a piece of legislation to ensure that it addresses the issues in Las Vegas or Reno, but doesn't harm our rural and frontier communities? And I can tell you that working with both of them, a firm handshake and a promise to get it across the finish line, we have been able to do that. And that's what the Nevada Forum is all about, is being able to reach across the aisle, work on the issues, and address the problems of our state, but understanding that we all have unique differences and needs. A lot of times our work is misunderstood in the legislature. National news and our Twitter feeds might suggest that bipartisanship is a relic of the past. Here in Nevada, we still pride ourselves in the ability to work across the aisle. We have a long tradition of recognizing the most important and durable policies aren't the ones shoved down our throats by one party, but the ones forged through conversations and mutual respect, like I mentioned before. My role as the minority leader is to protect the integrity of our institution. And I believe this project supports the mission by providing a neutral, nonpartisan space to identify shared priorities before the heat of the legislative session even begins. This project strengthens our work in Carson City by creating a data-backed foundation. When we can have a conversation from a place where the majority of Nevadans already agree, we can spend less time fighting over what should be done during the session and actually accomplishing the best solutions for our state. It prioritizes the quiet majority of regular Nevadans over professional activists and political insiders who often shout the loudest. So, having said all of that, I am personally calling on everyone in the small towns, the rural communities, and our frontier Nevada to join the process. Let your voice be heard. We are building a roadmap for the 2027 legislative session. That roadmap must be paved with the input from rural Nevada. Your voice belongs in this conversation, and through the Nevada Forum, we are making sure it is heard. Let's show the country that Nevada is still here to work and listen to one another and build a future that respects every citizen, regardless of their zip code. Thank you, and God bless.
Good morning, everyone. I am Assemblymember Venice Karras. I represent proudly District 10 in the Las Vegas area. As an Assembly member and a dedicated leader with our labor movement, I believe we are at a critical crossroads in Nevada's history. For too long, our political discourse has been hijacked by the loudest and most extreme voices, leaving the hardworking men and women who keep the state running, feeling like their priorities are an afterthought in Carson City. The Nevada Forum represents a fundamental shift in how we govern, offering a structured, data-driven initiative designed to bypass partisan noise and focus on the issues where the vast majority of us actually agree. For those of us in the labor movement, this is about more than just a new civic tool. It's about reclaiming our seat at the table. Our members are not interested in the bickering that defines modern cable news. They care about affordable housing, accessible healthcare, and safe work environments. The Nevada Forum provides a unique platform where the concerns of the rank-and-file workers and everyday Nevadans can rise to the top, based on broad consensus rather than political theater. This process ensures that the collective power of working families is amplified, creating a mandate for action that lawmakers cannot easily ignore. When we can demonstrate that a policy has overwhelming statewide agreement across party lines, it becomes much harder for the legislature to stall on the progress our families deserve. This initiative is built on the idea of amplifying everyone's voices, which is a principle that has always been at the heart of labor. We bring diverse people together for a common goal, and this forum mirrors that mission by ensuring the needs of the many are not drowned out by the demands of the few. Nevada is the perfect place for this kind of civic innovation because we are small enough to be community-oriented, but influential enough to set a national example. What we build here can serve as a roadmap for the rest of the country. The success of the Nevada Forum depends entirely on participation. That means all of you. We need the voices of our brothers and sisters in labor and all working families in our state to be at the forefront of this process to ensure the results are durable and fair. We are building a roadmap for the 2027 legislative session that is rooted in the true heart of the will of the people. And that roadmap must include the protections and priorities of the working class. If you're tired of being spoken for by those who don't understand your daily struggles, it is time to speak up. Participation is open, listening is required, and your voice is essential to the process that the Nevada Forum is creating. Please join.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Rebecca Edgeworth. I represent Assembly District 35 in Southwest Vegas. I stand before you today wearing several hats. As a physician, as a professor at Touro University, teaching our next generation of healthcare professionals, and as an Assembly member representing one of the most purple and bipartisan districts in the great state of Nevada. In my medical practice and in the classroom, I deal in facts, evidence, and outcomes. When a patient comes to me, they aren't interested in my political affiliation. They're interested in a diagnosis that's accurate and a treatment plan that works. They want results that are durable. The same is true of the students I teach at Touro. We focus on the science and data of what brings people together and what heals them. Our political system, unfortunately, has moved away from the diagnostic approach. We have entered into an era where noise and rhetoric often drowns out the common sense needs of the majority. I see this every day in my district where my constituents are truly a cross-section of Nevadans. They are Republicans, Democrats, independents, and nonpartisans, all working together regardless of who is in power in Carson City or in Washington, D.C. Because I represent such a bipartisan area, I understand better than most that progress is impossible without a willingness to listen and a commitment to find common ground. That's why I'm so proud to support the Nevada Forum. As I said before, if we want solutions that last, they must be rooted in a shared priorities. This initiative is the diagnostic tool our democracy has been missing. It provides a structured, data-driven way to separate the real public agreement from the political noise. By engaging Nevadans in a responsive dialogue, we aren't just guessing what people want. We're identifying the issues where there's agreement across the board. In medicine, we know that you can't treat what you don't understand. The Nevada Forum gives us members of the Nevada legislature a true heart of the will of the people of the state. It empowers us with a clear mandate to act on things that actually matter to families. Healthcare access, education, economic stability, all of those things, rather than getting bogged down in partisanship. I know that compromise is often treated like a dirty word in politics, but in my district, it's a way of life. It's how we get things done. This project supports that work by providing a roadmap that is rooted in evidence and community engagement. It's time we stop being spoken for by the loudest voices and start listening to the clearest ones. Please join us at nvforum.org and help us prescribe a better future for Nevada.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Shemis and I'm a high school senior. I'm honored to serve as the co-president for the ACLU Emerging Leaders, as well as a youth advocate and lobbyist. I'm standing here today because even though I'm not old enough to cast my ballot yet, I refuse to be a spectator in the future for my own state. For too long, we've been told that politics is something that just happens in Carson City, or just a series of arguments between adults who can't agree on anything. But decisions made today about our schools, our environment, and our economy are the ones that will affect my generation for decades. This is why I'm so excited for the Nevada Forum. This project isn't about which party is winning. It's about making sure all Nevadans, including young people, are actually heard. Too often, the same bills are sent back and forth, not because solutions don't exist, but because cooperation is missing. That kind of repetition doesn't move Nevada forward. Nevada moves forward when we choose to work together. To my fellow students, our perspective is a superpower. We see the world differently, and our stakes in the future are incredibly high. But make no mistake, we are not just the future, we are the present. The forum gives us a structured, respectful platform to share our perspectives and help build a Nevada where we can all thrive. I might not have a voter registration yet, but I have a voice. And through the Nevada Forum, I'm going to use it. And I hope you'll join me, because Nevada's future is for all of us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joshua Poole, and I am an ACLU student leader and a nonprofit founder. And it is so great to be here today. I just want to thank everyone for doing this and getting this started. And I know that for my generation, that the stakes of our political process aren't theoretical. They are very personal. They are, whether we're talking about digital privacy or the right to protest or equal access to the ballot, the decisions being made in Carson City will define the Nevada and the world my generation inherits. Too often, young people are dismissed as being disengaged. And young men in particular are walking away entirely, not out of apathy, but because they don't see a system that sees them. That disconnection is dangerous. When any group feels like the process has nothing to offer them, we all lose. The truth is, we are tired of a system that prioritizes partisan winning over people's rights. Our voices matter in the process because we bring a unique urgency to the table. We aren't just looking at the next election, we're talking about the next 30 years. By participating in the forum, we ensure that real people are driving our state's future, and it includes the perspectives of those who will live with these policies the longest. I'm calling on every student to log on to nvforum.org and speak up. Democracy isn't a spectator sport, and our rights are only as strong as our willingness to defend them through active participation. Thank you.
Well, we just heard from two amazing young people, and that is why we are all in this, for our kids and our grandkids. You just heard from the believers, the doers, the people who are going to make this happen. Now there is a storm upon us. The fear is real, and the exhaustion is real. But there's also real motivation. The people are ready to be called, and they are already coming. We know that there are going to be cynics out there. People will say that this is a play by the establishment, but it's not. This in the end will be a partnership between the people and those in the establishment who are recognizing that this is not a status quo moment. This is an all hands on deck moment. This is not the time to divide and conquer. This is not the time to demonize. The extremes on both sides, they will be at the table. The billionaires, they will be there too. The working class, the middle class, everyday folks, they will fill and surround this table. That is not a compromise, that is a breakthrough. Now this effort and where we are headed must be more than just survival. This has to be aspirational. We are here to define what the new frontier looks like, to build that shining city on a hill, to show the free world what it looks like when a free society can solve big problems together. When we build community together, when we choose each other. This is our time, this is our moment, and we will not shrink from it. We will embrace it because this is the right idea in the right place today in this moment. Now let's get after it, all of us, together.